alive! Yeah! Welcome to another episode of EE&J's Canine Lab. Today we got a very special guest appearance. Well, we're gonna let the man talk for himself. Ready? Drum roll, come on in. Here we go. Oh no! Oh no, who is it? Oh no! Ah!
What's up, people? What's up, people?
Oh my God! We got the man, the myth, the legend, the track assassin himself coming in. Coming in after what he did over at the
a great year.
That's right, at those two national events. So today we're gonna do things a little different. We're gonna be interviewing FunnyMan himself, Emmanuel. We're gonna find out how everything went for these nationals for him, and because we've been getting a lot of questions, want to know how he did, what he did leading up to these nationals. So before we go any farther, explain to us, tell the people that may not know, how did your dogs do at these two national events that just passed over the last 2 weeks? Let us know.
Mouse took a second to one of her nieces out of her brother. Was one of Max Performance's dogs, a little 19-pound female. Mouse was 24, and she took a second place, and I was very proud of it. For her to get first place, she had to pull something like 2,000 pounds, and it was a really hard track. She got it rolling.
What did she weigh for that? What was her weight?
Mouse was about 24 pounds, so she had to pull. She had to outpull a 19-pound dog percentage.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, okay. And the weight she needed to get, she got it rolling about, I'm gonna say, a good 4 or 5 feet. It just was a hard track, and she gave me everything she had, so I had them push it. But very proud of Mouse. 2 big kennels right here, right now, aka Mouse. All right, and Machine Gun Kelly, she took most weight pull per pound under 45-pound female, and she took her class, and she did it in 15 seconds. I mean, the easiest pull she probably had all year.
Really? Okay, well, let's touch up on some of the questions that a lot of people have had. Let us know, how did your conditioning program, how did that shape going into, both nationals? Because you went to nationals back to back, essentially. How did the keep, which for people that don't know, that's what we refer to as the conditioning program. It's called the keep. How did that keep turn out for you, and how did you have to adjust going to 2 national events so close to each other? How did that work out for you?
All right, so what I did, when I'm getting ready for the nationals, I always run an 8-week keep. And what I did is I ran it 8 weeks out from UPF, because that's where all the competition was going to be, because the classes aren't split up. So it's males against males, females against females. There's no divisions by weight and gender. So I figured that if I'm at the top of my peak for UPF, I should be good for ADBA at 6 weeks. So because they were 2 weeks apart.
So what you're saying is you didn't even peak the dog out for ADBA Nationals yet. That's what you're saying. You went essentially in the middle of a keep to ADBA Nationals?
Yes, I did not peak for ADBA Nationals. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did that look for you? How did you go in there feeling, how did you feel about going in there like that, not quite peaking yet? And how did that work out?
Well, the dogs were strong, man. I mean, the dogs were super strong. I mean, everything went well up the keep. I didn't have any sicknesses. Dogs were, they were progressively getting stronger. And I just figured that going against just females, I feel like Kelly is the best female this year. And she proved it. I feel like she was the strongest female out there right now. And so I just figured that 6 weeks on Kelly should be, it's a lot. So I figured that she should be able to go out and take it, and she did.
Okay. And now, so when you went to UPF, essentially that was the 8-week mark for your program, right?
Yes. So UPF was 8 weeks. Oh my gosh, she was looking good. And I'm gonna tell you, I ran into the same problem that I ran in at ADBA. Kelly hit a little growth spurt on me in the middle, right around a week before ADBA ish, and I couldn't have had a hard time getting her under to her 37, 38 that she was riding all year long. So I had to bring her in at 40. For UPF, it was hard getting her to 39 because the class ends at 39. So I wanted her to finish the year in her division that she started in. So I played hell getting her to 39 pounds. So this year coming up, you guys will see Kelly at about 45 pounds because she's a big bitch.
So that you said something that I wanted to touch up on. So what? So we clarify real quick. What has been her weight all season long leading up to this event? What have you been pulling her at?
She's been anything under 39. First show she was like 37. I did a show she was 38. I did a show she was 38. She did another show at 38. So she's been between 30, 37, and 39 the whole entire year. And then all of a sudden she hit a growth spurt on me. And it was hard for me to get her down to that 39, under 39 like she's been. But again, I think Kelly is the strongest female. I'm going to just say this, the strongest dog under 45 this year. And I think it's going to be like that for the next couple of years with me pulling her.
Okay, so this is a good topic right here because so now, how old is Kelly right now?
Kelly is about 18 or 19 months right now. She was born March 26th of 2024. Yes.
Okay. All right. So this is a good thing to talk about right here because sometimes people don't understand that you're not going to be able to keep the dog always at that weight, right? You know, especially on a younger dog as they're maturing, as they're coming through their heat cycles on a female, you know, they tend to pack on. And you as a handler are recognizing that. Is that what you're saying? And going, okay, I'm not going to be able to continue bringing her down anymore. Is that what is essentially what you're saying, right? You're saying, look, she's just
no, 100%. What I'm saying, literally. No, you just cannot, you can't hold them back, man. And if you try, you're gonna lose muscle. And I'm not gonna compromise muscle or strength for weight. No way, shape, or form. I'd rather go to the next class. And literally, Kelly was 39.9. I mean, literally. It 39.9. It didn't get. I prayed to the weight pulling gods and I got 39.9.
Yeah, that's a good thing because sometimes I see people trying to force that weight way too much, and I don't think that extra 2 pounds or 1 pound is worth it. You know, or you know, there's you see it in some of the dogs' faces; they're sunken in because they just tried too much.
Yeah.
Look, you know, sometimes you got to accept the fact that it's not. You as a handler recognizing that and saying, okay, she's not going to be able to come back down under 40 is essentially what you're saying for next season, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now you said something interesting here. She came in for ADBA and you won that in a 15-second pull.
15 seconds, literally.
15 seconds.
I came in. Actually, I'm gonna give you my strategy. My strategy for that because
tell us.
You know, I'm first and foremost. I'm the biggest dog in the class.
15 seconds.
So 15 seconds. Yeah.
15 seconds. Ooh, boy.
Yes.
Okay.
In 15 seconds, body pound everything. Yes.
I can see the skillet sizzling
most weight
right
pull,
now.
right? Most was it most weight pull as well?
Most weight pull per pound. She got most weight pulled under 45. No dog under 45 outpulled her.
The sizzle.
Yeah. Yeah. But the strategy for that was the strategy for that, she was the biggest dog in her class. She was in the 35 to 45 pound female class, and it was 35-pound dogs. Naturally, a 40-pound dog should be stronger than a 35-pound dog. A 40-pound dog should be stronger than a 20-pound dog as far as weight, weight being pulled. So my strategy was to wait till the smallest females in her class went out. Once the smallest female in the class went out, I came in at about 3,100 pounds, and I won the class with the, I want to say it was a 12 or 13 second pull. And then after that, once I won my class, then I went for the glory, which was the most weight pull per pound. And I just came in, I think that was 3,500 on the nose. And I
So
didn't have to call her, did nothing. She just stroked it down the track, like I knew she would.
now,
That's
now,
one thing
now
I can
that
say about Kelly. She's the best of her mother and her father.
now that shows a level of confidence between the handler and the dog right there. Basically, you're saying you know where you're at with the dog in your training, and you roll the dice in the saying this is where we're at. I'm pretty sure that I know where she's at right now, and we have a strong possibility of getting it out the door, at this weight with this shot right there. Basically, is what you're saying, because of the training that you put into the dog. Is that correct in saying that?
Yeah, 100%, man. When you have the foot hours and the miles and just the walking that I have with this dog, dude, we got hours and hours and hours and miles and miles and miles of dragging in. Once you do that with a dog, if y'all can't trust each other, boy, you got to find you another dog.
Yeah, yeah. Amen to that. Amen to that. So
Yeah.
so now let's talk about UPF then. How did that go for you at UPF, and what'd you do over there, and how'd that turn out for both for well, you did you pull mouse at UPF?
Unfortunately, Mouse literally Monday, I want to say Sunday evening, Monday morning, sometime, Mouse came in the heat on me at ADB right after ADBA. So she pulled, she was fine. A day and a half, day later, Mouse was in heat. So I
Mm,
couldn't pull Mouse at UPF, but I did pull Kelly.
okay. So how'd that go
And
for
that's
Kelly
now
over there?
look, this is the risk you run running females.
Amen to
This
that.
is the
Yeah,
risk you run running females, not being able to make nationals because of these crazy heat cycles.
yeah, yeah,
Which I've told you guys, a bunch of you guys know, I've never cared for a female to be, what I'm saying. I think the rule is, there should be some sort of you know, special type of, I don't
exception.
know, condition that you can kind of, maybe exception, I guess, that you can bring a female, with certain things, maybe like a diaper or whatever it is that they can use. But I just think it should be, gone with, in a sense, at least, certain restrictions when it comes to something like that, because I don't think it's fair for, like, for example, let's say Emmanuel or Eli to be, working these dogs for the whole year, and all of a sudden, they come into season, no fault of the handler's part, no dog of the fault of the dog, and you just lose all that time, and for literally for something that we all train around. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? We all take
Yeah.
time and make sure we train around that type of scenario, with these dogs, even the males.
I think that's a whole nother fucking podcast right there. I think we can
Yeah,
go into
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I think we can go
yeah,
into that discussion for another 2 hours right there.
yeah,
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
so what did you end up doing with Kelly at UPF?
So UPF. So Kelly came in 39 pounds. Uh, she ended up pulling 9,900 pounds, so 9,900 pounds to take the lightweight division. She won most weight pulled per pound. She won most weight pulled. She won top dog of the year. She also won first place, and she got an award for most heart.
And
Mm,
what'd you win? Show us what you won.
I got this award right here, the Sportsman
There
of the
you
Year, the
go.
Carl Burton Award, right there behind me.
ooh,
See it?
ooh, ooh! I
There we
see,
go.
I
There
see
you
the
go.
Paul
Yes,
Burton
sir.
Award. Yeah, yeah. You worked
Carl,
hard
I
for
don't know
that
if
one.
everybody know Carl Burton, which we should. Carl Burton was a guy, was a great addition to weight pull, man. We took a major loss losing Carl Burton to cancer. A really great
Mm.
man. Brian Hausfeld, the year that he passed away, he came up with the Carl Burton Award, which was last year. Last year, his wife Angela Burton got it, and this year I was honored with it. So it's just a great honor. Out of all these trophies behind me, that means the most to me.
Hey,
You know, that
amen to
means the
that one.
most. That
Yeah,
means people voted on me to get this. People said, "Hey,
yeah,
Big E." You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it means a lot to me to get the Carl Burton Award.
There was a lot of nail trimming involved in that award. I get it.
Yeah, yeah, nails, all kind of getting sodas, all kind of stuff, man. Nails, sodas, bath rugs, whatever. Hey, look, everything.
Yeah.
Nothing was off the table.
Campaign. The campaign was good.
Now here's a here's a I'm gonna touch up on something. We're gonna go back to that first question about the keep. Now, for people don't know, you know, ADBA Nationals was how far away for you? How many hours of traveling was that to go to ADBA Nationals?
ADBA was about 14 and a half, 15 hours for me.
Okay, and then a week later, was it a week later you went to UPF or 2 weeks?
No, 2 weeks later was UPF, and that
It
was
was UPF,
20 hours for me.
20 hours. So
Yes.
that shows the condition. People sometimes don't realize you got to factor all that stuff in your conditioning. The drives that go
All of
back
it.
and forth. Explain to some people a little bit how you think that affects the dog and how it affects that your keep and your program, getting ready to have to travel for that far and paying attention to your weight and stuff like that. What do you think goes into that and preparing for that?
Yeah. Man, there's a lot of preparation that goes into it. Remember, well, my dogs are kennel dogs. They all have their own kennel runs. They can use the bathroom when they want. They can drink water when they want. They can pee when they want. So to go that far in a vehicle with a dog, they're in a kennel crate, and they don't have unlimited water. They can't go when they feel like it. They're going on my schedule when I feel like, okay, about every 4 hours or so I stop and give them a break, let them walk, stretch their legs, and put them back in. So there's a lot of prep that goes into it.
That's
As
an art
far as
form in itself.
temperature, I,
Yeah.
I, I have thermometers and different devices in my vehicle that alerts me when the temperature drops below, let's say 65, and it gets above 72. So I keep my dogs in that range. And even being it was colder going down, so I had to I put like wood chips in the kennel just to generate a little more heat for them, so I wouldn't have to run the heat per se. It just there's a lot of thinking and thought that goes into traveling with a dog. I have a whole van. I bought a transit van just to travel with these dogs so that they can be comfortable.
Yeah, I can see that. People need to understand it's not, sometimes it's not just as simple as loading the dog up and
Yeah.
throwing it in the car and
Yeah, for
driving off.
sure.
It's not that simple.
No,
So
100%. That's right.
you got to factor
A
a
lot of
bunch of that
time,
stuff.
money, thought, and preparation goes into this dog stuff, man. It's not a cheap
Absolutely.
sport. This is why when you got a dog like Kelly or Tokyo or Fresh or Max or some of the Luna, some of the great dogs. It's a lot of money and time goes in this. And remember, time is money. It's a
That's
lot
right.
that goes into it. So when these breeders say, "Hey, I want 1,500, 2,000, 25, 3,000 for a puppy," we put so much money into this dog sport to be the best and to prove that these dogs are the best that it's worth it. I
Yeah.
never, if a man give me a price, I never beat him up about his price, and I never drew him down because that man's
Everybody
price is
know
what that man's price is.
everybody knows my position on it. I think these dogs are way undervalued. For the amount of time that goes
Yeah.
Yeah,
into it, for the amount of work that goes in. I mean, if this was a Schutzen, you're paying per session. You're part of a club. You're paying a lot of money. By the end of it, a fully trained Schutzen dog, you're probably spending $30,000, $40,000. I
yeah,
think if you turn around and you were paying yourself a certain hourly rate or per session rate, that you spend training these guys, and I've done it. I've sat down and I've calculated it, on some of the dogs, and you're gonna realize, like, man, there's a lot of money. There's a lot of money involved. So I don't
yeah.
think anybody that wants to haggle a price for a weight pull dog, then you shouldn't be buying a dog from that person. There's a lot
No,
of
yeah,
time, money that goes into it. Um, and I think these guys are undervalued for the amount of effort that goes
Yeah,
into it, and I think that's a whole another show in itself, which is actually
Yeah.
probably a good another podcast that we should talk about, the value of these guys and really how much these guys should really go for. But with that
yeah.
being said,
And the crazy part, and the crazy part, when you get a dog from Funny Man Kennel, you're not only getting a performance dog, you getting a dog, a kennel starter. You getting a dog that you can go, because I even though I have a slight outcrosses in my line, all my stuff ties. So when you
yeah,
get my dog, it's ready to go to whatever you have on your yard, and you're going to produce good dogs at once you get my dog.
yeah,
Especially if the dog you're breeding to is the caliber of the dog that my dog that you're getting from me is. You got a kennel starters. I'm not just selling you. I'm not selling dogs that you get them one hit wonders. I'm selling you dogs that you can make a line with.
yeah, and that might be the next podcast where we can start talking about the
Yeah,
bloodlines and how that
hundred
ties
percent.
into a working dog and what to look for and when to go out and when to roll the dice with something different.
Yeah.
But so what I want to touch on right now is, so you went to two nationals essentially pretty much back to back. They probably had about a week, maybe 2 weeks off in time. How do you say to yourself, enough's enough for the season, or enough's enough? Like, you know what, it's too much traveling right now for these guys. I need to, dial it back a little bit. As a handler, it's your responsibility to recognize that from the dogs. How do you do that? How do you look at your stuff, or there's any cues that you might look for? What's your take on that?
So I have a rule. Dogs, you can't hold a keep. So there's no such thing as holding a keep all year. Oh, I'm gonna hold this keep from
Impossible.
January to December, and this dog will be strong. The
Impossible.
dog starts
Impossible.
to fall off at some point. And what I find is I can hold the keep. Okay, so ADBA, I start. So that's at 6 weeks in my keep. I started up the uphill on my peak. Once I got to UPF, I was at the top of my peak. My peak, I can run that peak for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and then it starts to decline right around closer to like to 10, about 10, 11, and then I start on the down. So I know right at that point I got to get a dog a 8 week break, 2 months. Once I get at 2 months, I can start that keep over and I can keep running again. But normally, what I do when I have young dogs, I'll run them hard from January to June, and then I'll give them a break. I'll give them a 2 month break, and we get ready for nationals. And that's from trial and error. I took good dogs. And I try to make them hold the keep for about 9 months. I'm gonna be honest. I was going to shows every month. I was Utah, Colorado, this place, that place, and you just can't do it. It's too much on the dogs. It's young dogs. You can run them for about 6 months, and that's not an 8 week keep all the way through. That's just me getting them ready for a
Yeah.
show, maybe 4 or 5
Yeah.
weeks, giving them a break, maybe a week, 2 weeks break, back on training, next show, you can do that with a young dog. That's how they get their experience. But when I'm getting ready for nationals, my dog's coming off of ground zero. They coming off of a 2 month break. Then I start getting them ready for a keep for nationals. It's the only way to do it.
Yeah, I think some people are, they undervalue the importance of rest, and
Yeah.
resetting a dog and getting a reset.
Yep.
In my opinion, I think it's just as important, if not more important, than the amount of work that you put in there. You know, and how do you feel about that?
Oh no. Rest is a big part of it, man. Dude, I'll take Kelly out, and if her first pull looks bad or she looks weak, out. And I'm looking at weight that's really not a whole lot of weight, or weight that she just tracked a quarter mile, or whatever, wherever she drags. I'll peel her off and take her home and give her a
Hmm.
day.
Yeah,
Or if I go to her kennel and I know that she's sleeping a little bit more during the day, or I'm like, man, she just not as bouncy as she normally is, I'll give her a day off. You have to pay attention to these dogs, but rest is very important. Only way to
Mhm.
build the muscle is rest. You got to rebuild that muscle you tear down. Rest is what builds it back up. Only way.
absolutely. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. So
And see this
so
a
now,
lot of a lot of my conditioning stuff. comes from me conditioning myself. I know I'm a fat guy now, but at one point, man, I played football, I lift weights, I ran, I did all kind of stuff. I ran track in high school, I played football in high school. And then as an adult, I lift weights and I got to a pretty high level. I'm talking about, pretty heavy weight, lifting. And I can tell you right now, I can't lift every day. You lift every day, you just don't see any gains. Then literally the time I kind of got frustrated. I took about 3 days off, came back, boy, I was bad. So that lets you know that rest is what you need to
Mike
build
Benson.
your muscle back up.
Yeah. So now that the season is over with, for the most part, what do you what are your plans with because it's girls, it's your females. What are your plans on them? Are you planning on breeding them anytime soon, or whether Mouse or Kelly, or you're going to give them another year? What do you plan on doing right now with those girls?
Man, I got some K9 lab type stuff in the background brewing. But Kelly definitely, she needs to go. I probably breed Kelly the end of next year. I want her to come in and repeat what she did this year. So I need her to come in. She's right now unofficially has the dog of the year. She has the most points from my calculations. And I need her to come back and do dog of the year, ADBA, UPF, and we might even do IWPA next year. I don't know. But I need her to come back and win all those nationals in the fashion that she did this year, and then she's worth breeding in my breeding program.
Okay.
After I breed a dog, sad to say, they normally go up as brood stock.
Yeah. Well, and that's 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 what it comes down to with females. I mean, it's rough. You kind of try to get your season in as fast as possible, and then you decide what you're going to do, because the only way to continue your program, well, is to breed the dog. You're going to have to at some point. And then especially because you never know, when accidents happen, things happen. Dog eats a tennis ball or does something stupid, because they're dogs, and it's kind of like you gotta. Yeah, Jonathan knows. He eats a tire. Jonathan.
Look, 100%, man. I done seen dogs, promising dogs get pios. I done seen them, like you said, hurt themselves or get those doggone pios, man, and they're done.
Then they're done. Done.
So you're 100% right, man. And then I see a lot of people, they'll get a good dog like Kelly, and then they're like, I'm not breeding this dog. This dog got 5 more years in her. And then they'll wait till the dog is 7 years old, and you starting to breed this old female. Now she's having complications pushing puppies. She's having issues with this, issues with that. It's like trying to crank up an old car. When I can take a young bitch, I can prove her and let everybody see this is the baddest bitch right now, right? And then I can take her and start breeding her at 2.5, 3 years old. And guess what? She's easy. The puppy birthing, the birthing process is easy because she's still young. You know what I mean? And that's what that's what I do with my females. Tokyo, I started breeding her at 3 years old. She was at the top of her game when I put her up. Kelly, I'm gonna do the same thing with. Breed her at the top of her game. But I was talking about as far as breeding programs. I know a lot of people that'll take a 7-year-old female because they're a dog the caliber of Kelly, and they just don't want to stop. And they wait to 7 years old to start breeding this female, and they got 4 breeders planned for it. So if you can breed a female once a year, if at 7 years old, that dog's 11 by the time you finish breeding. When I can take a 2.5, 3-year-old female, plan 4 breeders for her. When she's finished breeding, she's stopping at 7. And then the rest of her life, she can live out being a beautiful, nice dog, training her puppies, teaching, the next generation how to do what she did. You know what I mean? So I just like to bring my females out at the top of their game. Tokyo was at the top of her game when she went out. One of the best females, I'm going to say, doing her time pulling. And Kelly, I'm doing the same thing. One of the best females in her time pulling. I want her to go out at the top of her game, and I'll breed her. And none of these females are up permanently. Hold on, E. None of these females are out permanently. If anybody want to put some money on it and see if I can get these females back out, I'll bring them back out. $1,000 and make a lot of stuff happen.
Ooh, hold on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Tokyo ain't done. Tokyo ain't done. Hey, look, I can bring out just as nice as she was when she was younger, but we're gonna talk about that later.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think sometimes people forget, when they're in good shape, and they're doing well, they're conditioned well, it's a good time to breed a dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're young, they're strong. You've had all this conditioning and time into it. I think it makes the labor process easier. I think they recoup
Hmm.
quicker from having the puppies than to have, a 7, 8 year old, female that's going into her first litter. And now, she's just not as good shape as she should be. She's lost some muscle now at that age. And I think you're 100% right and right on the money when you say that.
Yeah.
So
Yep. 100%, man.
so what are your plans for next season, and when do you think your first show is going to be at, so we can set up a little table for you, and we can have the camera there and autographs and shaking hands, kissing babies, and all that good stuff.
Hey, look, I don't know if I'm that famous, but my first show, I'm trying to think. I don't normally hit the Mississippi show. I'm not really a fan of their track, so I
Mm,
don't really hit that show.
yeah.
I know several dogs has been hurt on that track. Last year, a couple guys went, and the track was very inconsistent. Pulling one round and not pulling the next. Then a 5 second round, then a no pull, then a 5 second round. So I'm not a fan of bad tracks. So I just won't go to that. I won't go to Mississippi. Uh, I think. Let me see. The first show for me probably will be a UPF pull. Either in Kansas or Oklahoma, and then we'll have the Bully Max show that they had this year. It was the first of the year. My first ADBA show will probably be Top Dogs of Houston, the show that Clay has first of the year, and then it'll be Oklahoma.
Okay.
Yep, Oklahoma ADBA.
Yeah. You have you got any new stuff coming out for next year, or what do you got? What do you got in the bag? What do you got in the bag over there?
Yep, I got some new stuff. I got a puppy off of Tokyo, bred to Max, which is Max is a fresh son off of Carl Burton Storm, which is really make it back into some of Miss Nicole stuff. But very promising female. She looks just as strong as her sister. A little bit different style. She got style between a cross between her father and her mother. Which is the best. That's what I was looking for. Something that gives me both the best of both worlds. So we'll see how she does. We had a little puppy pull off at UPF just to test the track, and she did a hell of a job. Which I put some videos up on my Facebook.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, and what happened is we found out there's some people trying to block his internet access so he can't spread the knowledge of what he's
Yeah,
done. They've hacked into his
uh,
system. The haters are coming hard.
that's right.
uh,
100%.
They're in the
uh-huh.
Wi-Fi. They said,
I,
they
I
said
I
we,
think
we
it was
can't get him in
Ellie.
the weight class, so we're getting his Wi-Fi.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
All right, so uh, let's talk back about that puppy that you're gonna bring out again. So it's a Tokyo Max. For those who don't know who's Max, give us a little insight on who Max
Max
is.
is a fresh son. He's fresh storm to
Yeah, you,
Burton
you you're
Storm.
you're gone again, bro. They're hacking you.
Again,
Yeah, you cut off.
I'm good.
You might have to reset to the Wi-Fi. You might have to be on the Wi-Fi.
I'm just happy it's not me. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
happy
yeah.
for
Me
once.
too. Me
It ain't
too.
right. You're like, yeah.
Uh-huh.
As long as it ain't fucking me.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
Uh-huh. Motherfucker making fun of me and my soundboard, motherfucker. Shit.
Soundboard this.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
They're attacking my
Shit.
Wi-Fi. You know.
Yeah.
I can tell you one thing. I won't be using this iPhone again for this shit.
There you go. Yeah, you
I ain't
go.
never had as much problems. I might can't
Yeah.
get a background on my other phone, but shit, I can goddamn get in.
Yo. Yeah.
Listen.
There you go. Okay. All right. So let's pick up right there. Okay. So what the last thing I was saying was for the people that don't know who Max is, explain that breeding Tokyo and Max.
So Max is a fresh son bred to Burton Storm, which is an inbred Little John daughter. So you got some of the best Willie Maker stuff bred to fresh, and man, Max is just a very strong dog. He's not a real big dog, so that's what's impressive to me. He was 44 pounds at this year's national. He was about 45 pounds at last year's nationals. He's sit anywhere from 48 to 50 pounds just walking around the house. He's not a big old male, but he's
Nope.
strong. So I figured that last year he got most weight pull under 45. He got percentage, most weight pull, and top dog last year, and at 45 to 70 pounds. So he was the strongest dog under 70 pounds last year. And I just figured it would be a great time to capitalize on what he is. And I bred him to Tokyo.
Nice. And that's what you're coming out next year. How old's that puppy right now?
She just turned 7 months about 2 days ago.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that's gonna be nice. How'd that puppy pull off go?
Uh, the puppy pull off went really well. The puppy pull off was between her and her brother and one of Jonathan Trejo's puppies off of Luna and Fresh. Went really well. They all pretty much ended on the same weight. It wasn't too much of a difference, man. You know, when you getting the dog from Funny Man Kennel, man, you're not getting the bottom of the barrel. You getting the best of the best. So it's nobody gonna be on top. It's gonna come down to pure conditioning and handling once these dogs are adults.
All right, cool. So we got somebody else that was at Nationals.
Drum
Trejo!
roll,
Trejo! The Mantis himself. The Mantis. No more Turtle Man. It's the Mantis. The Mantis. Wow!
Hey, y'all better watch out.
Yeah. Okay,
You know.
Mantis. Let us know how was ADBA Nationals for you? Let's
ADBA
talk
was
about ADBA for you. You know, before we go any further with anything else, explain yourself. Explain yourself.
Well, let me see. How could I? Well, anyways, ADBA, it was very similar. We always try to come in with our keep and stuff like that. We train for it. Um, I train. I do it a little bit different than Emmanuel does. Unfortunately, we just can't go to as many shows as we can. So we started our keep a little bit earlier, and then we do get rest in between, like he says and stuff like that. So for us, we always make sure that we do rest, just not as long, anywhere between 3 to 2 weeks, and then we continue back up again, right before nationals. Um, but overall, we came in thinking everything was going to be smooth, but unfortunately, this is just how the game goes.
So what happened?
Sometimes you can't get too confident. So unfortunately, I did not place. With my most competitive dog, because I have other dogs and stuff like that, right? But my most competitive dog, that's in those the 25 to 35 pound female,
Mm-hmm.
she did not place. uh, I cannot, there's really no fault to nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and say, it's because of this, because of that. We all ran the track, we all did the drops we did. I wish drop wise it could have been a little different. Unfortunately, I have to eat the drops. It's just how it goes. Um, um,
So
could it
let
be
me
a
ask
little
you.
bit,
So question for you. You
more
said, can
to
you hear
the
me?
to the um to the handler, to the
Can
dog
you guys hear
catered,
me?
at least in that weight of class, just because. Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, no, no. What I was gonna say. Okay, so you said it's drops. So when you say that,
Yeah.
is that handler error drops, or was that the judges putting the drops on the cart? Or do you feel like you should have took the previous drop or a drop before, or do you feel like the judge was over dropping?
You
Man.
I can't really hear you, but what I'm thinking is, he's saying is if it has to do something with like the judge, what the judge
Yeah.
decides. And
Was that a handler error on your drops? Was it a combination?
no,
What was it the judge that
no,
knew
for
too
me,
much? What do you think that was for you?
yeah. Yeah, for me it was the judge. I mean, we came in, we did I believe it was 2300. Um, we did that in about I want to say anywhere between 11 to 12 seconds.
Not,
We'll wait till he reconnects. But you want me to continue?
yeah. Well, and right
Yeah,
there. So, what was your dog's weight? So we put that in perspective when you're talking about what you came
yeah.
in at. What
So
was her weight?
so I came at natural weight. I didn't
Which
cut
was what?
no weight, no nothing. I
So
came
which
at
was what?
natural weight at 32,
So 30. So
32
you're talking about
pounds.
32-pound female, and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then what was the weight increment that you came in at?
So originally, when I came in, I believe it was 200-pound drops.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So when I came at 23, the drops were 200 pounds. As soon as I finished at 23, they bumped it up to 300 pounds.
Okay.
So, the drops went, and I had already planned on passing. So me as a handler,
Was the
I
track
wasn't the
getting
lower
hard?
dog. I couldn't call it was getting hard, but it wasn't as bad. Like 11-second, 12-second pound uh pool
Okay.
isn't that bad. You know what I'm saying? So I said, okay, I'm gonna pass, and then they said, well, we're going to 300 pounds. Okay, I'm like, oh, it is what it is. I gotta eat it. You know, um, and then I did a pass. That means, and then I had to do a 600-pound drop
Okay.
due to the pass instead of a
Okay.
400-pound drop.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, there was a body pound caught at 27, but like I always say, hey,
So so when
I'm
you say
going for first
at
place.
27, there was a smaller dog than you there is what it was, a
Yes,
27-pound dog.
yes,
Okay.
correct,
Uh,
correct.
and you
So,
and you didn't do that body
me,
pound.
no,
You
because
didn't do
that
no
was the
snatch.
same. There were, yes, there were a couple. I think I can't remember how many. I think like a pound or so less than me, but I wasn't gonna pull it due to the fact that we didn't go for second. I didn't go there for second. I'm gonna be
Yeah. Yeah.
honest with you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so I'm like, well, I'm gonna make the 29. I'm already gonna pull the 29. I might as well just go ahead and do the 29, right?
Mhm.
Um, so I ended up obviously skipping that, and I did the 29. Um, Part of me wishes I could have done that, but it wouldn't have changed much, just
Yeah.
because, like I said, we went there, like I said, for first. Not that there's anything wrong with any other placement, because at the end of the day, I didn't place. You know what
I
I'm
get it.
saying?
I
It,
get
it
it.
is what it is.
Yeah.
Um, so like I said, we did that 29. We came short about a foot or two from finishing that. But I was still very, very proud of what she did, because if I'm not mistaken, I think she was the only dog in that class that even moved the weight. Everybody else just stood there. But like I said, we came close to really taking that class. And at the end of the day, like there's nothing much I can say, because her effort was there, her strength was there, and it showed. It was close. It was close for her to take the class. So I just wish it was a little different, and I could have the drops could have been a little bit more catered to the weight class, just
Sure.
because that that weight itself, them smaller dogs, 600 pounds and 300-pound drops. If you double pass, or pass once, it's a 600-pound drop. I just wish they would have waited until a certain class or a certain type of weight class falls off before they increment that big of a drop.
Yes, yeah. So this leads into another perspective when you're competing. That another factor that you have to look at. It's not just your dog. It's not just the track. It's not just who you're competing against, but it's also how that particular judge is judging that event right there as well too. So you have to pay attention to that. You might have a judge that is going to throw on extra weight pretty quickly, and you're going to have to like make those calls and those
Yes,
adjustments as you're going through, or else you might end up
correct.
praying, doing the praying mantis to the gods and not being able to
Hmm.
to move, because and then not get it, and there's nothing wrong with going for first. I get that sometimes you get
Yeah,
to a certain point where you're just like, No, I came here to win, and I don't even want the
Yeah,
second. I get that. There's nothing
yeah,
necessarily wrong with
yeah.
that.
Like I said, there's nothing
But
wrong
you roll the
with
dice. Yeah,
whatever
you roll the
placement
dice,
someone
and you
takes.
rolled the dice. Yeah, and
Yeah,
you came up a
exactly.
little short.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how
You know.
how'd it go for your other dogs as well?
I mean, Cowboy took second in the class, but there was only two dogs. Like I said, it came again. It came again down. You know, he moved it. He didn't move it as far, but he still manages to move it. Um, you know, he just don't. He just doesn't have it. You know, my bigger dogs, they're not pit bulls, so I don't expect for them to perform like pit bulls. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um, at the end of the day, like, you know, he's this was his last year, and I had said it. You know, everybody knows this was his last year, and um, I mean, it is what it is. He took second, and I was happy. You know, I'm not gonna keep putting pressure on a dog that doesn't want to do or enjoy as much as he did before when he was a younger dog. You know?
Yeah. So now that happened, you had to going into UPF. Did you make adjustments? Did you change something in your keep? You know, what did you do to yourself necessarily, or the dog? And were you like, I need redemption? Like, how did that go for you?
Yeah, yeah. You know, unfortunately, I
Going into UPF.
I don't like to lose. You know,
Oh, sure, nobody does. I
yeah,
get that. Yeah.
yeah, and you know, UPF is her style of track. Everybody knows Luna is a slow puller. She muscles through stuff. You know what I'm saying? She held that for a little bit. You know, unfortunately,
She
there's a
held
little
you.
strong
So
bitch out there, or a
what
big
did she
strong bitch
hold?
out there.
She held what? So you won your class with her, right?
The
Did you win
Yeah,
your
yeah.
you won your class?
So previous years, you know, obviously she would take the 20-pound class and she would take division. I mean, I'm
So you
sorry,
won
the
first. So
division
you
for
won
body
first.
pound. Yes,
So
for the
you
last two
won
years.
first at UPF, right? So you took
Yes,
and then you had body
yes,
pound.
yeah. This year,
Yeah, yeah. This year.
are you talking about this year or the
Yeah, yeah.
previous years?
No. This year when you went to UPF, did you win your class?
So yeah,
You
yes,
won the
I ended
class.
up taking the class. It wasn't an easy class, I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, there's some hard hitters there, a lot of good starting dogs, and the crazy part is like one of those dogs is still a very young dog, and I see a bright future for that little Carl dog. You know, and a lot of other dogs in other class. You know, I see a bright futures in them, and then I see a bunch of dogs getting better that are right there too as well. And Yeah, I mean, I took first, you know, in that hard
So
class. Then I ended up. Go ahead.
I was gonna say so from ADBA to UPF, and
Mhm.
where you went where you didn't place to winning your class. Did you go back
Yeah.
home? Did you make some training adjustments? Did you start putting the heat on? Like like, when I mean that, I mean, did you start training harder? Did you make some adjustments? Like, is that something or you just went back to business as normal? Like, what do you think? Did anything change at all for you, or or was it just business as normal?
Yeah, no, I did. I did. I came home. I came home, and you know, this is something that happens to me every year. You know, in ADBA, I can't seem to, even though the classes are split, and I always feel like, you know, she has it because there's less dogs in her class. For whatever reason, ADBA, she always comes short. You know, and to me, it's, I guess it could be a handler thing as well, because unfortunately, like, you know, those passes is what really kills us. You know, you don't want to bring in a dog too early, especially when you're competing to, like, you know, to how as high as we try to compete to. You always you want to bring a dog just enough to get enough reps, but have enough strength to finish strong. Um, so it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, I wish it would do away with the passes, but yeah, I went home. I adjusted. I tweaked a little bit. You know, put a little bit more pressure on her. And that was pretty much it. You know, I took some little advice from Mr. Sportsman of the Year, Sportsman of the Year, and you know, and you as well. You know, especially when it came down to dropping weight. You know what I'm saying? It's not just, I can't sit here and I say it's just me. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all guide me. y'all make me better. At the end of the day, like, oh, I kind of want to rest. I'm tired from work or something, and I hear you guys working, and I'm like, nah, I can't. I can't let it go.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, those tips came from Emmanuel, and then when it came to dropping weight and making sure I keep that healthy weight off, I got some advice from you, and it turned out great.
Awesome.
Um, I was able to place first in the class. Had division for a little bit. Well, I had division for most of the night, and then Emmanuel over there, ended up taking it at some point.
So you had percentage, the stark
Yeah,
difference between ADBA to UPF. So you had
yes,
percentage, and I remember watching it. And you had it for a while, and
yes,
then you lost it to Kelly. Is essentially what happened,
correct,
right?
correct,
Yeah,
correct,
yeah.
So
So
listen,
I mean,
correct. I lost
can
it
you
to
guys hear
Kelly.
me?
in my book, that's we're gonna call that redemption. We're definitely
Yeah,
gonna call that redemption
yeah,
when you
no,
did
no, no, no,
the age
100%. It
difference
definitely was
between
redemption, but
ADBA to UPF.
Yeah, no, for sure. I felt really, I mean, overall, I've always been confident in that track. That's Luna's, literally, that's her stuff. You know what I'm saying? I can't sit here and say like, the track doesn't cater to her style and to the way she moves and and it does. It shows. Everybody that knows, like, you go to UPF, Luna's gonna put in a show. It's been happening for the last, like I said, this is the third year going, and I mean, it's still impressive watching a little 29 pound dog pull the weight she does.
Yeah.
Um, so it's home. At least for her. You know what I'm saying? Uh, uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then, like I said, I it's it's like one of those like bittersweet kind of things. I wish I could have took percentage, but at the end of the day, like, who else do I feel better losing to than Emmanuel? Us three, we spend more time talking to each other than I think anybody else. Uh,
Yeah.
and to be part of, like, one of us taking it's just it's a good feeling knowing that one of us took it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I get that. Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, I totally understand that. How do you
yeah.
Now,
say again?
yes, sir, can you hear me?
Man, we gonna call
We
you
hear
the
you.
stutterer.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, anybody, there's gonna be a GoFundMe after this. It's gonna be down here below. It's gonna be to help Emmanuel with his
hey,
setup. You know what I'm
no,
saying?
I'm about to send out a big message. Don't buy this Apple piece of shit. That's what it is. Goddamn
Yo,
Apple iPhone 16 Pro Max FSX. Man, this shit sucks.
yo, you gotta take the.
I, I should have stuck with my damn Android. That's what we need to have a goddamn episode on. Is piece of shit fucking Apple shit. Now I was trying to tell you earlier. That's when you. So another episode we need to have is friends and weight pull. I let you hold the most weight pull for hours. For hours. I let you bar for a couple hours. For a couple hours. And then I came in and said, hey, buddy, you mind if I hold it for a second? Politely. I came in and politely said, hey, man, can I hold it?
You wanted to let him taste a little bit of glory, and you're like, okay, you had
Yeah,
enough.
come on.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
You
hey,
had
yeah,
look,
enough.
yeah.
look.
It's
One
it's
thing about
it's
me, I don't
it's
only
like
build up my dogs, I build up my friends too. I want them to know what it feel like.
he said it's like the child at the refrigerator. Can you have more ice cream? Just a little taste, just a little bit
Just a
right
little
now.
taste.
That,
That's
Yeah.
that's
it.
it. That's it. That's enough now, Jonathan. That's enough. That's fucked up.
That's it.
That's enough. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's fucked
yeah.
up. That's fucked up. Wow. How
No,
do
it's
you
good. It's all good because
go ahead, go ahead.
go ahead. No, I mean, throughout the, like, I think the last 2 years, I think well, 3 years, obviously this being the third year I've been at UPF, I think it's been, man, I think your world
You
flipped
just
upside
you
down,
just
but
fucking went upside down.
yeah,
Stop messing with this shit.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But for the last 2 years or 3 years, it's been, I've been going back with Emmanuel about with percentage and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, one of us, like I said, as long as one of us took it, I was extremely happy. You know what I'm saying? That's like if I won, in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, you know, sharing as much time as I do with you guys. At the end of the day, like I feel like we won. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
He
for sure.
won, but we won.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I get that. I get it for sure.
Yeah.
So how do you how do you repeat that next year for you? Like to come back in and 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 try to maintain and win your class again, and even try to hold that percentage or win it. What do you think is going to be
Yeah,
the
for
difference
sure,
for
for
you?
sure. Yeah. For me, I mean, like most of you guys know, Luna came off of breeding. I was kind of skeptic of how she was gonna perform. For a second after ADBA, I was like, oh, maybe she didn't come off it, that great as I thought it did.
Mm,
Um, and then went back to UPF. I said, you know what, I know, I feel like she's gotten stronger, and you guys have heard me, like I feel like she's stronger. You know. Um, and I think she bounced off great. Um, but next year, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't have no plans on breeding her. She's gonna keep continuing. Maybe she got another a year or two left in her
mhm.
before I put her up, and then we're gonna see. Most likely, I got confidence in her. I'm gonna try to take it. Just whoever's out there listening, anybody in that 45 or 40 and under, hey, she ain't out of the race just yet. Yeah,
So, hey, can you guys hear me pretty good?
Good shit. Yeah,
yeah, we
yeah.
can
Now
hear
we
you.
can. Yeah, yeah.
Listen, listen. I'm gonna knight you. I'm about to knight you, 45 and under pound female, because Kelly is officially out of the 45 and under class. It's your class to have, sir. Congratulations.
Oh, whoa!
I knight you, 45 and under
Congratulations!
female. Yes, sir.
You better hold that crown. You better hold the crown.
Listen, listen, man. It ain't easy. Like I said, there's a lot of good dogs coming out. Not dogs that weren't just there, but good dogs coming up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I always have to battle it out with Emmanuel every fucking year. You know what I'm saying? This guy's
And,
like,
and,
nah,
and
he
and
ain't
not
got
to
it. Then he
mention,
comes,
I don't
fuck.
I, I don't win every time. Literally last year I won ADBA with Onyx. He came and beat me at UPF. So I don't win
that's right.
every
You
time.
you beat him at UPF last year, right? To be
Yeah.
clear on that, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
Hmm.
I
yeah.
literally don't
Yeah.
win every time. The year before with Tokyo, I
Yeah.
beat him in Texas, came to
Yeah.
UPF. He took the
Smoked me in
percentage there.
Texas.
So
Smoked me in Texas.
I don't always win. So I want you guys to know that. Funny Man Kennel don't always win. So we win just as good as we lose. That is another episode we need
Yeah.
to have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sportsmanship.
Correct.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're not breeding her anytime soon, Jonathan, right? You're gonna give her another year or so.
I don't
He,
think
he needs
so.
the
I
breeder. He
mean,
needs the breeder. I
if
got a
if
breeder
anything,
plan, and I got a trick up my sleeve, man. I need him to breed her one more time.
listen, as you guys know, you two know, and there is some other people that know. I don't plan on breeding. Like I do this as to compete against everybody in that pit bull weight pool class, and
Yeah.
I do
Listen,
this just
he
because I
don't
want
plan
to.
on breeding, but I plan on breeding the bitch.
Yeah, yeah. And
Emmanuel's got breeding
and who
plans for
knows?
her. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows? Eventually, like I said, I'm like I said, she might come out, and do a breeding. I don't have nothing planned, like I said, but eventually she probably would. She probably would because she's for her class, like she's a good dog for her not to get bred and pass down something, and have something off her. It would be a waste. It would be a waste.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so what are your plans for next season? You got any new dogs coming out at all as of right now, or what are you doing here?
Yes, yes, I do. I do have a couple of pups. I have one off Emmanuel. I have one that Tokyo and Max. And I have two off of the Luna and Fresh that I'm really put some training on them literally within a couple weeks. I just need to take a couple weeks to myself because
Yeah.
this is a second job. It's a hobby, but at the end of the day, it's something
Yeah.
we come to, and we get busy with it because it's just something we love to do. Because at the end of the day, if we didn't do it as much as we do, we wouldn't love it, because we do get home and do what we do. You know, we don't get paid, going to shows.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
it's something we do. I extremely love the sport. I love the majority of the people, um, and I love seeing them. Talking to them when I do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that pretty much rounds up most of what I had here to talk about. You guys want to anything else we need to touch on here? What do
I
you
think
guys
I
think?
think we should end it there because if not, we're going into our next episode.
Yeah, yeah, we're going
Yeah.
into the next
But
episode.
but I'd like to give everybody a shout out. You know what I'm saying? Especially UPF. UPF, you guys were great. I think we all had fun. I think that show, Emmanuel knows, like, he's been to way more shows, but I think it was like a great atmosphere. Like, I ain't never been to a place where I'm like, what I'm saying, smiling and laughing so much with the whole group. Like, literally the whole
Yeah,
room was laughing with one another. It was a
yeah,
great thing. If you guys can make it next year for sure, make sure you guys are there. You guys are truly gonna love it.
yeah. We have
Yeah,
the epic
I
UPF
didn't see a
cookout.
single scowl face in the crowd when
Yeah,
I was watching live. Everybody seemed to be having a good time.
Yep.
yeah,
Nobody looked angry. I didn't see anybody that didn't make a pull, walk off, pissed off. That the
yeah,
dog didn't do
yeah,
something. You saw a lot of sportsmanship, which was it's always
yes,
refreshing and nice to see that. I didn't see
yes,
anybody being overly over the top because they didn't make a pull or something like that. Like I seen at some of the other shows, which is
yeah,
good. Which will lead me to some of the questions that I had here that I got. You know, I got asked a couple times of you know was I going to ADBA or to UPF, and I was planning on going
Not
to
again.
to ADBA. The factor for me was they weren't going to have a walk on scale. Um,
yeah,
I call and this isn't an ADBA issue. It's a club issue.
yes,
I want to make that clear. I love what ADBA does and how they do things but the particular club, they when I called them to find out if they were going to have a walk on scale, they basically told me no. They said they're going to have
yeah,
a hanging scale, and as people know, they see the dogs that we have now. In my opinion, is these guys are too large to be put on a hanging scale. You know,
yeah,
Mr. Wednesday, the last time we took him to a show, he weighed in at 181 pounds. Sun Wukong, I'll compete with him anywhere between 160 to 170. I don't like him to get much heavier than that for a show, but how are we lifting up a dog like this?
right,
How and why? It takes 4 or 5 people to do it. It's not something that I can practice for myself. I need a small fucking crane
yeah,
over here to do that.
yeah,
And, me and my wife, we're not gonna, attempting or practicing. And when we're talking about a guardian breed of dogs,
yeah,
young males that are full
right,
full of themselves, and trying to lift them off the ground. I just don't think it's safe for anybody. I don't think it's a safe situation
yes,
for the dogs. I don't think it's a safe situation for the people hanging around there. So when I called and I spoke to the club, they told me that they didn't have enough time, which for me was kind of weird because we call a month and a half before nationals and said, hey, are you guys going to have a walk on scale because I'm planning to come with some large dogs. And they told me no. They said no, that there's nothing they can do for me. They can't quote unquote accommodate us for that, even though any other ADBA show with any other club that I've gone to, I've given them a heads up, and they've made the adjustments if they didn't have a walk on scale. They said, hey, no problem, E. We'll have one here for you since you're taking time to travel to our event, to our show. We'll get it. Even this last tri-state show, I got to give it to Steve. He reached out and was like, hey, if you have your scale, bring your walk on scale, because I didn't have my walk on scale. He said, we have to weigh your dog, and I know you got some big dogs. My particular scale, it's a livestock scale. It's a steel frame. It's not the easiest scale to travel with. And they got on the phone. They called some people. Shout out to them. For coming through with a small walk on scale, and we got the dog weighed in. That's everybody working together, trying to get competition there, trying to get people to show up, respecting the work that goes into it. So for a national event and somebody to call and say, "Hey, look, I'm trying to support you guys," and bring some large dogs, and for them to say, "Hey, too bad, we can't, nothing we can do," that's kind of shitty. Especially when I was in the middle of a keep, so I already had time, money invested into it, um, and they agreed. The silly part about the whole situation was he agreed. They're like, yeah, if I had a 180-pound dog, I wouldn't want to put it on a hanging scale either. I'm a firm believer, like my breed of dog is prone to bloat. You got to be careful. I don't want to hang something that large by its stomach and by its neck.
Correct.
I don't want to risk that. These are expensive dogs. We have a lot of time and money invested in just the same way everybody else does in their dogs. I want to make that clear. I just didn't feel that that outweighed my concern for my dog safety. And I literally told him, I said, well, if you guys aren't going to have a walk on scale, then I'm not going to go to nationals. No, no offense
Yeah.
to anybody. I just
Yeah.
don't think it was worth that. I'm not going to travel 18 hours to get there, and then what? You know what I'm saying? What are we going to do? I need six
Yeah.
people, six people to lift it. And for
Yeah.
me, it wasn't even a hey, can you bring your scale? Because maybe the worst case scenario, fuck it, I would have tried to fit my scale, in the
Yeah.
van or whatever. Or we could have got together and talked to some other people, but that wasn't even an option, obviously. So,
Yeah.
that's something that maybe we got to talk to ADBA about, even if it's just for a national event, that they make it mandatory that they have a walk on scale. Personally, I feel any dog 70 pounds and over should just go on a walk on scale.
Yeah, yeah, correct. I
Yeah,
believe so too. I'm lucky. Even though I don't look young, the gray hairs. I'm young enough where I can solo carry my 85-pound dog, 90-pound dog
yeah,
easily, right? But not easily, but with effort, right? But
yeah,
I I don't like it because of the strain, and I use a thick strap here at my house, right? And I still don't like how it feels and the noises they make and stuff like that. It's old fashioned.
yeah.
Unfortunately, we got to get with the times, and we do, like, especially for something that big. How can you live something like that without even hurting the dog or hurting yourself in the process? It's not something that it shouldn't be overlooked. Is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's 2025, where it's not 1902
Yeah,
anymore. We don't
yeah,
need to use hanging scales. The one argument, or I don't even want to call it an argument. I could just say the discussion that we were having over the phone with the people from the club was, oh well, I don't like walk on scales that much. I think they can be
Fucking
inaccurate. Hanging scales can be just as inaccurate. The dog is bouncing
yeah.
around. The numbers keep bouncing around. We've seen
Correct,
it 100 times.
correct.
You know,
Correct.
so what happens there? The same thing. Well, oh well, I've seen it with walk on scales. If you tap the side again, hanging scales are the same scenario. And if you're
Yes,
that worried about it,
yes,
then you spend a little bit of extra money on a high quality scale,
yeah,
and you have a test weight. That's simple. There's a
yep,
certified test weight.
yep,
You put on the walk on scale, and then everybody has to use the walk on scale. It's real simple. You know.
yes,
And then the next argument was, well, dogs may not be used to that. Dogs are, you're just walking on it. Worst case scenario, you put a crate on it, zero it out, have the dog go into the crate. But really, I mean, you go to the vet. What happens at the vet? You go to they don't take your dog and put it on a
yeah,
hanging scale. You go on a walk on scale. There it is.
yeah. On a
That's your
walk-on
number.
scale.
Um, so I hope that moving forward, maybe we can persuade ADBA to at least make some kind of rule change where at least for a
Yeah,
national event they make it mandatory that you have a walk on scale there. It's 2025. I think a good walk on scale, you can get it for like $200. It's not the end of the world. It's not
yeah,
breaking somebody's bank. um and it was a little disheartening that the club didn't want to make any adjustments or try to make any accommodations. It didn't even make an attempt. They just was like, no,
yeah.
sorry. So, why am I going to travel across the country for that? I'm not going to do that. So, and then leading up to UPF, we had a litter of puppies literally that came out like 2 days before UPF. So that wasn't going to happen. So, hopefully next year we can make it to at least one of them and kind of take it from there.
Sure, for sure. Anything? I know you've been off and on, Emmanuel. Is there something you'd like to add or something like that?
I'm ready to get off of this damn
No.
iPhone.
Yeah, and listen, everybody, moving forward, we are going to put a link for a GoFundMe for Emmanuel, so we can fix whatever internet issues he's
Yeah,
having.
send
We
me a
need to
link so
find
I can
out
get my
who's
Yeah.
been
old phone
tapping into
back.
his internet service.
Jesus Christ. This
We can
damn phone
find
suck.
out who's been sabotaging his internet, his Wi-Fi. They're in
Uh-huh.
his Wi-Fi. They're in there. You
Uh-huh.
know,
Jesus
so.
Christ. This thing
But I
sucks.
think that's pretty much it. We're we, we're we're gonna keep having some more podcasts coming up,
For
and we
sure.
might even try to get some guests on, and we can start taking some more questions. If you check us out on the EE&J the uh, the group on Facebook. Guys can go on there, leave some questions and comments for the next podcast, and we can go ahead and take some Q&A and bring some more content for everybody to check out and kind of take it from there.
For sure. For sure.
All right, I think Emmanuel's gone again, so so we're,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
we're,
Yeah.
we're gonna leave it with that, and all right, guys, to the next one. We're out.